We interrupt this program to bring you this important message. The Earth is no longer fit for living, so you'll need to find your own new home. You immediately get the brilliant idea to apply for a job as an astronaut. You'll be able to wait over the hustle and bustle on the International Space Station until humanity finds a new home, right? The longest time a human has spent in space so far is 437 days and a few extra hours. And when I say in space, I mean the ISS, because a human being without the proper equipment in open space would only last a few seconds. The ISS is designed to support human life in space for extended periods of time. Extended, but not endless. The station gets resupplied with food, water, air, fuel, scientific equipment, and other necessities every 3 months. With no Earth or humans to send the mission, this lifeline will soon be broken. The station is a huge ship moving through space at over 17,000 miles per hour. It faces pretty harsh conditions, from radiation to micrometeoroids and huge temperature ups and downs. That's why the system regularly needs patching up. In addition to wear and tear, there are also unexpected events that can require resupply missions. In 2020, the crew discovered a leak that was causing a gradual loss of air pressure. They eventually found cracks in one of the modules. The crew managed to fix it, but it proves how important it is to have enough spare parts on board. Let's say the future humans will manage to find a way to run the station non-stop without restocking. Astronauts already grow plants in space in closed boxes with low-energy LED lights. It's not only a source of vitamins, without which humans can't survive, but a great mood booster. We'd also need more advanced closed-loop life support systems to recycle air and water efficiently. It's a system that captures carbon dioxide from the air by passing it through small beads. Then it uses steam to separate the carbon dioxide and transform it into methane and water. Water then divides back into oxygen. But even with all the possible advances, there's another problem: the health of the astronauts. They live and work in a microgravity environment, and they rely on carefully controlled life support systems. But our bodies aren't designed to live in weightlessness forever. It's like standing on your head, because the reduced gravity makes bodily fluids accumulate in the upper parts of your body. The result is a puffy red face. The gravitational force on the ISS is weaker than on Earth, so muscles don't have to work as hard and bones gradually lose their density. That's why each crew member follows a strict daily exercise routine. The heart muscle also weakens because it doesn't have to use as much effort to circulate blood throughout the body. Without Earth's protective atmosphere, astronauts are continuously exposed to cosmic rays. They are invisible waves that can cause some serious health issues. So maybe we're better off opting for Mars or the Moon for an alternative.
As soon as the Earth is cut in half, almost all living creatures will come to an end. An apocalypse will begin, which has not been shown in movies. The atmosphere is damaged, the magnetic field will change, and the planet's landscape completely alters. But the planet will be completely renewed, and life, like a phoenix, will be reborn from the ashes. A super powerful laser would be needed to separate the planet. Such a laser has to receive energy directly from the sun. The weapon goes into space on a rocket, thousands of miles above our world. Then, once the laser arrives at its destination, it opens wide to expose plates of solar panels. The laser absorbs and concentrates the sun's rays. Then a powerful energy beam with the diameter of several cities shoots into the middle of the planet. Oceans through which the beam passes boil and evaporate from the high temperature. These vapors turn into a vast thundercloud in the sky. A strong wind drives these clouds over the continents. Heavy rain falls, which floods not only cities, but entire countries. As the tectonic plates shift, tsunamis are created. Huge waves crash onto the shore. The Earth is split in two. And this is just the beginning. The structure of the Earth, or rather, each half of it, is changing. Strong earthquakes occur all over the world. The worst disasters happen near the fault line. Billions of tons of ground are smashed, Massive landslides drag entire cities below. Chunks of land, thousands of miles in size, shoot away from our planet. All living creatures on these pieces of land fly into outer space. Other broken pieces of the planet land on the half that is closest to them. Imagine a huge rock the size of a whole city falling from the sky, and there will be hundreds or thousands of such stones. Those who live far from the cut site have a chance to survive, but even there, earthquakes will destroy houses. The moon will also start to throw off pieces from itself. These pieces, like a meteor shower, will fall onto the Earth halves and create massive explosions. These explosions will create fires. The skies will be covered with ash, and until it settles, we won't be able to see the sun. Both parts of the planet are drifting away from each other. The red-hot heart of our Earth is right in the center between the two. This is the Earth's core, consisting of molten metals. Each half of the core exudes energy comparable to a star. Between the two parts of the planet, a layer of such hot space is created that nothing can survive there. Any item that falls into this space immediately turns into ashes. The mass of the core is much larger than the ground mass, so there's a higher level of gravity. The core sucks in everything that comes close. You can't travel from one part of the Earth to the other. The core's gravity attracts any shuttle. Each half of the Earth now lives on its own. Typically, the core inside our planet rotates and creates the Earth's magnetic field. This field is a shield that protects us from the sun and space. If the shield is damaged, solar and cosmic radiation passes through the atmosphere. Because the core is divided into two parts, the Earth's magnetic field becomes unstable. Power outages begin in both parts of the planet. Microwaves, TVs, kettles, traffic lights, computers, everything is broken. The screen of your laptop or phone starts turning on and off. The video may freeze and the battery runs out and charges in 1 second. Satellites stop working, which means there will be no more GPS. High-frequency radio waves used for communication stop working, which means you can't make calls and send texts. In fact, all power plants may sink underground or be flooded because of the earthquakes, so there might not be electricity at all. Some people are sensitive to solar storms and experience severe headaches. When the magnetic field is damaged, the surviving people and animals will suffer from severe migraines. Scientists will have to invent special helmets to protect people from the sun. For full protection, people will have to live in underground cities. Compass needles no longer point north. They just spin in different directions. The birds go mad. They don't know where to fly to wait out the winter because the south no longer exists for them. All animals stop migrating. In the sky, planes can't navigate. Plants and flowers can't grow naturally thanks to the increased radiation from the sun. Livestock are poorly fed. The quality of products deteriorates. There's famine. The main goal for people on each half of the planet is survival. In some places, closer to the fault, the Earth's atmosphere is completely damaged. The conditions there will be similar to those in space. There is no air or heat. Only in a spacesuit can you stay in this territory. Unfortunately, you won't be able to jump and fly because gravity still works. Besides, it's gravity that becomes the salvation of our planet. Both parts of the Earth won't fly away from each other because of the force of gravity. Instead, they will rotate and start to attract each other. In 100,000 years, both parts of the planet will reconnect once more, and the Earth will be completely renewed. Since the core is molten metal, it will return to a single heart, but it will take much longer to connect the solid rock of the halves. A scar forms along the entire fault. The scar will be overgrown with forests and flooded with oceans, but there will be strong earthquakes in some places near this scar. By this time, all living things have probably disappeared. On our planet, conditions are about the same as 4.5 billion years ago. Seas and oceans boil, lightning strikes everywhere. Tectonic plates change their shape, and lava flows from volcanoes in a rapid stream. The Earth looks like a vast boiling pot, inside which life is gradually created. Because the Earth has decreased in size and the core hasn't changed much, the gravity will be different. On land, it will be more difficult for an ordinary person to walk. They will weigh much more. In such conditions, new, previously unknown life will be created. Today, the world's atmosphere and oceans are polluted, the population is increasing, and glaciers are melting. In the future, things could be much worse for our planet. In 1,000 years, when humanity has mastered space travel, we may decide to change our residence. We'll start looking for other Earth-like planets, and maybe we'll find something. However, nothing compares to our first home, and humanity decides to cure it. Perhaps we'll come up with the idea to divide the planet in half and live on one side. And after 100,000 years, we can come back to a new healthy home. What if you divide other planets? Since they don't have a magnetic field, they won't be as affected. For example, Venus and Mars have no seas, oceans, or lakes. Some scientists think they're entirely dried up because the magnetic field has disappeared there. This led to the complete destruction of the atmospheres of these planets. The solar wind blew across their surface with such force that it dried up all the liquid. The Earth's atmosphere reflects this wind, so thankfully, we're safe. There would be no significant cataclysms on other planets, except for earthquakes. Like Earth, the two parts of each world would simply rotate until they reconnect once more.
You're relaxing in your room and streaming some good tunes when suddenly the network's down. You try rebooting your phone, but there's still no connection. Out of nowhere, your sister barges into your room in panic. She's screaming something about rings. Boxing rings? Wedding rings? Rings on the tub? She's not making any sense. So she drags you out of the house and shows you the sky. You take a look up and see streaks of objects forming miles above the Earth's surface. Her connection seems to work. The two of you check online what's going on, and everywhere the same thing is making headlines. Rings are suddenly appearing in our sky. #EarthRings is breaking the record, and videos are going super viral. Your sister can't help but join the crowd and takes a bunch of selfies with the sky. You run to the TV in your living room to check out the news. Scientists are warning about a coming catastrophe and explaining that everyone should remain indoors. Even though it's a cloudless day in the middle of summer, the weather seems to be getting colder and colder. Suddenly, the signal's cut off. Other channels show nothing either. Then you see your neighbors packing their bags and heading out. Others follow suit. You hesitate a bit, but decide to do the same in the end. Your sister is still outside taking selfies when you urge her to come along with you to seek some answers. The two of you hop in your car and drive out into the city. The rings above seem to be gaining more mass with each second. You and your sister are getting colder and colder. You head to the university to see if anyone knows anything, but there's no one there. Only one parked car in the lot. And it's a good thing you recognize that car. You and your sister rush in and find the astronomy professor doing some quick calculations and trying to figure out why all this is happening. He urges you to take seats and begins explaining. No one knows what this is all about, but it's limiting the sun's exposure on Earth, which explains why it's getting colder by the minute. Why the rings are getting thicker is a mystery too. On Saturn, the rings are made up of ice and rock particles. They can be as small as an ant or the size of a bus. The rocks could be leftover meteor debris or even remnants of dwarf planets. But since Earth is so close to the sun, ice wouldn't be something you'd find floating above us. With all these rocks piled up, they block the Earth's access to sun to warm us up and give us light. The professor goes on to explain that Earth will enter a new ice age, and oxygen levels will deplete within a year's time unless those newborn rings disappear anytime soon. This also explains why there's no connection. The rocks that form the rings are hitting and breaking the satellites. Suddenly, you hear a loud ringing noise outside. The three of you head outside and see a helicopter blasting an alarm with a red light flashing. Everyone to your homes now! This is not a drill! Everyone, head home! You get in your car with your sister, but the roads are jammed. You have to go on foot, which will take 2 hours. There's no way anyone can remain outdoors. You venture out seeing everyone stuck on the road. They're all arguing with each other and causing chaos. You try not to get caught in the middle of anything and sneak your way to the highway. With the rings getting thicker, less sunlight is breaking through. This Ice Age info is stuck in your head, chilling you even more. You take a deep breath and see a thin mist coming out of your mouth. The sky is getting darker and you're still not home yet. Your sister is tired and needs to rest, but you urge her to move on. You find an abandoned clothes shop and head inside. The store clerks are actually giving away thick jackets for everyone to wear. You grab a couple and slip them on. Only 1 more hour to get home, but the sky is completely dark. There's no way you and your sister can go out in such conditions, so you decide to camp up in the clothes shop. They set up a mini bonfire in the middle of the shop and create makeshift sleeping bags with the rest of the unused clothes. Luckily, there's enough food to feed everyone, including you and your sister. It's the middle of the night. The fire goes out and you can't see outside the shop. You head to the window and open it up. A huge pile of snow spills in and wakes everyone up. It's the middle of August, and a snowstorm formed overnight. Everyone is freezing, and they start the fire anew. There's no radio or any way to find out what's happening. The wind picks up and starts shaking the shop. Things start falling off the shelves, but you and everyone else are cozy by the fire. The next day, you look outside and see the entire area covered in snow. You live in a sunny place where it barely rains, and the rings in the outer atmosphere are even bigger than last night. Out of nowhere, a truck filled with people pulls over, and the driver tells you there's a shelter for everyone some miles away. The truck has chains all over the tires and is equipped for the worst snowy conditions. Even though it's morning, the sky is pretty dark. You and everyone else hop in. Abandoned cars, some with their doors still open, are scattered all over. The truck drives around them or just smashes through the ones in the way. It pulls over next to an ambulance and takes all the equipment to help the ones in need. You drive past your neighborhood and see your entire house covered in snow. The large tree in your backyard has fallen under the weight of the snow and broken the roof, allowing snow to flood in. The truck speeds through and gets to the shelter, which, to your surprise, is the mall. You get out and see many of the townspeople being led to various stores that have now turned into dorms and health units. You're left in a sports store with a bunch of other people. Your sister has also been able to bunk with you, and to your luck, you see the professor helping out some people. But shortly after that, a loud explosion blasts through the mall and shatters glass screens. Everyone ducks for cover. You see people running outside. You head out and see a large metallic object lying in front of the mall entrance. There are people crowding the entire area, so it's not easy to see what all the fuss is about. But after getting a closer look, you find out it's a satellite fallen from orbit. It crashed in the front yard and made the boom. There were also reports of other satellites crashing on Earth in the most random places. That means all communication has been wiped out of the map. You run back inside the mall to await what happens next. You look at your sister in fear, not knowing that the new Ice Age has just begun. One year later, you're relaxing in your bunker when your sister barges in, freaking out. The rings are still there, but it's something else now. You run outside and see everyone gathering around and looking at the sky. Within a year, temperatures have dropped to freeze the entirety of the Earth's surface. Deserts and tropical jungles have turned into icy wastelands. More than half of the wildlife went extinct, and trees are as rare as a four-leaf clover, which means oxygen levels have dropped significantly. Most of the population, or what's remaining of it, live with oxygen tanks, with scientists still trying to crack the case of the rings. Exactly what the professor predicted. But up in the sky, rocks seem to be falling down and crashing all over. It starts off far away, but then the rocks begin to fall down close by. You and everyone else run back into the mall, which has been covered with a layer of metal to keep the warmth inside. It should be pretty safe in there. If the rocks are falling down, that means the rings are dissipating. Suddenly, you're full of hope that the Ice Age might be over soon.